Hey guys, welcome back. Busy week. First off, went mountain biking up in New Hampshire with my son, and you can check out a video of him. Anyway, I took a fall and tore a tendon in my thumb. Really was not an exciting fall at all, but here I am. Now I got to find an orthopedic again. I don't know. On top of that, also had my birthday yesterday. Leveled up again. Love it. This week gonna be a little different with my video. I wanted to do something that a little bit of an opinion piece. I took a lot of heat last week, but anyway, all right, let's get into it. I'm gonna use this hand. Oh! All right. So last week I took a bit of heat. It was half and half. Some people agreed with, half people agreed with me, half people didn't, and I took a really aggressive stance on the Tune tool, in Midjourney, and I kind of wanted to talk about that because I think there's something bigger than just this tool. You can have a tool and it pops up and you use it or you don't use it. And, if it fits into your workflow, that's great. If it doesn't, it kind of goes by the wayside. I find there to be a bit more concern behind the Tune tool. And, it may be nothing. This tool may come to pass, disappear, and it doesn't make a big impact on things. But I think we have to be diligent on, as issues like this pop up, that we're talking about it and, kind of making our stance clear as far as what where we want Midjourney to go. And if they want to be continue to be successful, not that they're not successful already, they need to kind of adhere to their audience, and that's us. First thing is yes, I took heat. And I kind of said, don't use, just to recap, I said, don't use Tune. And my initial cause was, it's really expensive and I don't think you're getting anything that you can't do in a regular prompt. The thing with the Tune tool is that it adds a level of complexity that you can't go back and, what would I say? You can't debug it easily. If something goes south, and we've all seen this, something goes south in our prompt, and we kind of need to take a few steps back to fix it. Now we have this level that's baked into it that we can't really unwind, and we can't remove the style if we've gone so far. If we're deep into this, we can't just take the style out and see if that's the problem. And you got to remember, these styles are also affected. We've seen this I got a whole channel dedicated to this, is that sometimes the subject affects the style. And this, God, my camera just looks like it's tilting. We're going to fix that. Okay. So the style can be affected by the subject. We've seen this. And now we're baking it into our prompt with this tuner. And one, I don't think it should be named a tuner. Two, there's got to be some way to record our tuning pages. What is going on with? There's dust. Anyway, I think there's just what's going on is the Tune tool gives the illusion of control, and it doesn't really turn control over to us. It's, we think, oh, I'm doing this custom recipe, but it's really just an illusion of control. And then we pick what we want, and you want to say, yeah, I had control. If you get good images after you do the tune and after you kind of create this recipe of images, you want to say, yeah, I'm in control of it. That's mine. I have ownership of it. But what's really happening is you don't. It's it's just a secondary, it puts your prompt secondary in hierarchy behind this tune. Its transparency is gone. I thought that was the whole thing that Midjourney was built upon. When that you could go to Midjourney's homepage and have any image there, right-click on it, see the prompt that created it, take it to yours, dissect it, and play with it, and build from the ground up a prompt off of a different image. And yeah, you could completely copy somebody else's, but what's the fun in that? It was really like, oh, hey, they used it this way. It was reverse engineering. And it wasn't necessarily to steal an image that somebody else had created. It was to learn, and that's gone. The other thing with this tune tool is predictability is gone. I have not had somebody clearly say, okay, if you use tune in this fashion, I've had people say, only pick one image and then it'll be really strong. Use a high stylized, and you'll get exactly like the image, but you only get exactly like the let's call it a sample image that you get in the testing if you use the same exact prompt. So there's almost no predictability. You may get a cool look and you may be like, this is awesome, but really predictability has suffered. And believe me, I've run a lot of different tunes. I used up a ton of fast hours to try and get to the bottom of this, and it's just not there. And I've used extensive ones. I've used all the way. I've run a couple at 128, which uses 1.6 fast hours or 1.3 fast. I don't remember. Anyway, I've run a couple of them and reworked their tune pages a couple times, and I'm sorry, there's no real predictability. You're not capturing a style with it. And, they're calling it a style tuner. I don't think that's accurate, because if it's a style tuner, I feel that should be completely separate from your subject. Your subject should have no influence on the output image. So, yeah. And along with predictability, obviously, being able to redo it, recreate an image or a style, that kind of goes out the window too. Once you start tweaking your subject, it's just very volatile, it seems, when you're using the style tuner. And then, do you need to have the raw baked in? I've had people say, oh, turn raw off and turn it on after, and you get this, and raw is going to just give you photographic returns. I've been using raw for a long time on non-photographic things. You can go back through my videos and see. It's just weird. So where is Midjourney right now? So where I see it right now is that it's dreamlike, and not so much in that you're getting. We are getting fantastic images, but it's dreamlike in you're creating images, and like in a dream, sometimes in a dream you can get that slight sliver of consciousness where you're like, oh my God, I gotta run. Like, say you're in a nightmare and you're just like, oh my God, I gotta run. And you start to run. And then your subconscious or whatever comes in and is like, oh, I'm going to put you in mud because you're not going to run very fast. It's going to be painful how slow you're going. And that axe murderer is going to get you. And then you're running for 20 minutes slowly. That's how I see Midjourney right now. Like, we create this prompt and we think we're going to be in control of the image that comes out. And to some extent we are. But then something else comes up. The Midjourney will throw something at us that's cool and neat, and oh, maybe we're going to sidetrack. Maybe, and it could be like, we asked Midjourney to create a fire-breathing dragon, and it gives us, a pug that's breathing fire. And we're like, well, that's a cool idea. And the thing is that idea wasn't ours. But then we kind of go off on this tangent and develop this cool picture around this pug that's fire breathing. That's okay. That's fine. The problem is if this tool wants to be serious, the artist needs to be able to direct it. There's no in between here. Like, artists have to be in control. Midjourney can't be in control. And this is where I'm having trouble with Toon, because Toon is just an illusion of control. It's not really control. It's not giving us any more control over the image than we had before. In fact, it's added complexity and variables that we don't know how to deal with. So that's kind of where Midjourney is now. It's this dreamlike experience that we're trying to hint, like we're struggling in our dream and we're trying to throw these hints out that, hey, I need to learn how to fly right now to get away from this danger. And Midjourney is really directing the show, and we're just barely like, hey, no, us. And I may be overdoing it a bit, but I just want to kind of get you to what I think of Midjourney right now, where we do not have nearly enough control as we want. And I understand Midjourney doesn't want to go down the route of, now what they say is, their reasoning is that they don't want a complex UI, that people go into Photoshop, they use Photoshop and they go into Photoshop and they're overwhelmed by the amount of tools and how deep and all this stuff. So they don't use it, and they want it to have a very rich experience for beginners. Okay, well, great, but what are we building then? I get it. You want it, you want your learning curve to ease in, but we really need professional artists to embrace Midjourney, and for me to embrace it, it can't just be a fun pastime. If that's the case, I'm really just playing a video game. So yes, Midjourney needs to turn the controls over to the artist. We need to be steering the ship when it comes to image creation, not Midjourney. And to do that, I think we need different stages of Midjourney. Like, we kind of need an exploratory stage of Midjourney, and then a developmental stage of Midjourney. Like, maybe that's it. Maybe there's just two, hey, this is where I'm exploring ideas, and you kind of come up with your concept, and Midjourney has a little bit more say in it. And then we move it over to Midjourney directorial, where we have a robust tool set for artists to control that image right down to the final pixel. We need Midjourney embraced by professionals and professional studios. For a application to take off, I remember back in the days, back in the 90s, I was working on an SGI and using a tool called Power Animator. This was before Maya. This was Alias Wavefront. Who made that? Yeah, it was Alias. Yeah. And working $30,000 SGI, and the license for Power Animator was, I think, another $30,000. But why didn't I want to learn Power Animator? Why was I using this, finding jobs that use this, that got me this experience? And it was simple. It was because ILM was using it. And because ILM was using it, I wanted to use it. And not just to be on the same thing, but I wanted to build a career around visual effects. So I needed to know the tools that they were using. That was going to benefit me in getting a job at Industrial Light and Magic. NFL stars sell jerseys, not Pop Warner stars. And nothing against Pop Warner and kids playing it. It's just, you got to have the pros. You got to have the big guys to look up to, and you got to know that Midjourney has been just field tested, and it's battle tested to withstand the hardest direction and push the most out of it. So professionals need to embrace it. there needs to be a hope of return on investment, ROI. We need an ROI with Midjourney. You get a professional account with Midjourney, and that's the middle one between the enterprise and the basic. And you're putting out $720 a year for that. That's much more than I pay for my Adobe license for every application in Adobe. And at some point, if you're running a business, you got to be like, well, okay, what am I getting in return from this? Can I take images? Can I create the images faster? Are the image easier to sell? I mean, it comes down to time and money. And we know how those interact. So we need a return on investment, which means we need to be able to control that image all the way to the end. So, So Midjourney needs to turn over control of the image to the artist. And they need to figure out a way to do that. If it's multi-stage development, like kind of a nodal system where, our first node will give us the environment, second node will give us a character. We link these together into a third, stage or something. You can call it a stage, and you can put all the different things, and maybe you also put in props and whatnot and multiple characters, and then tie it all together into a nodal system. I hope you guys understand what a nodal system is. It was something that, became very popular in compositing programs back in the, late 90s, early 2000s. And you kind of tie all your different elements, and then it would work through the node, kind of a flow chart type of thing, executing the commands as we go and combine it. Maybe that's something that Midjourney needs to look into. And then you get different nodes that do different things. You have a lens flare node and whatever. That's a possibility. It needs to be non-destructive. We make changes, we need to be able to undo them. We can't be so committed to the same image or the evolution of the same image. We need to kind of be able to wait, go back. This was right, that was wrong. So we kind of need to have non-destructive workflow. Alternative inputs. I think this is going to be important for AI art creation too. Yes, we're going to be describing things, but we also need, there have been other inputs where you do really rough sketches and you say, oh, that's the mountains, that's the water, that's, this was early on AI. And it kind of tells you where everything is. And then it essentially was a computer-directed photo bash. There's that option. There's, photographic input. Obviously, we can manipulate photos with AI and, maybe, and Adobe is kind of along those lines with generative expand and fill. We're tiptoeing into the photo input style or AI, working nicely together. I got to say, where we're at in AI image generation is we're still at stage 1. This is still version 1, even though we're up to version 6 of Midjourney. We're still at we haven't had a significant shift in theory about this. It's been very incremental to get to this point. The images have increased in fidelity thousands of times than what we were getting, with the first version. But there needs to be another big leap. I was thinking one of the things, and see if I can explain this correctly, would be a gestural input. So let's say we have a node and we've done character design and we've designed a character, and we have kind of a character layout and a style sheet, let's say, and we kind of know what they look like and their different expressions and everything. Then we go to our main canvas, and when I say gestural, I don't mean like phone gestural. I mean, there's this thing called gestural drawing, where it's very rough and you're really trying to capture as quickly as possible the line of action of a character. Imagine you draw a gestural input of let's say a snowboarder doing a backflip, and we get the curve in the back and the reach for the board over the head and extending the other arm Superman like, and we kind of really quickly get this gestural, but we've already got our character over here. And now this is where AI comes in and says, okay, let's apply this character to this curve. Like, I have enough information from this gesture, and it put it on the gesture the wrong way. Oh, well, then we have the tool to flip it. Let's turn the direction of that gesture line the other direction. Oh, there it is. And now we've got it. Inputs like that, I think, are going to be very important. Where we're really relying on the artistry of the artist, and the AI is helping us along, and it's not the other way. Like right now, it's very imbalanced, where Midjourney is there and the artist is kind of like, hey, I'm here too, and it was my idea, and jumping and pushing, but I hope that makes sense. I think this Tune tool just really, it's less about the tool not fitting into my workflow, and it's the concepts behind it that, I'm just really distraught that it's an illusion that's being sold to us, this illusion of control. And I don't mind the secrecy, like, hey, okay, now we're losing transparency between artists, and like, hey, I can create this thing over here with my own little recipe, and nobody's going to see it because it's just going to be some numbers, and they can kind of represent it if they get the numbers, but yeah, that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that it's really an illusion of control. And, you can say like, hey, my prompt that cooked up this style was completely unique and it did exactly what I wanted to. And now I can reproduce it and nobody's going to steal it from me. And okay, whatever. That doesn't matter to me. The fact is I have yet to see anyone use this in a precise manner with such just efficient precision that you're like, yes, this is a tool for an artist. And remember, being an artist is basically, it is the ultimate craftsman. It is the ultimate, it's the ultimate tradesman. When I went through art school, and this before digital era and all that, we had to know everything. And our professors and stuff, they're like, don't just go to the art store and look at the charcoal and the paints and stuff. Go to the hardware store and learn how things are built, how things are done. You need to know how to do everything. You need to know how to plaster something. You need to know how everything reacts with everything. And that's what makes a great artist. And it's having control over this. And really at the end of the day, when the best way I can describe this is the tune, the tune command is an illusion of control. If you're using it and you're getting great stuff, that is fantastic. But I don't like the idea of it. And I don't think it's giving us any more control over our images. Honestly, I think Midjourney is sidetracked, and eventually they're either going to get bought out or come to their senses and get over this feeling like they can't have a robust UI to create images. And because if it stays very simple, I mean, we might as well be playing a video game. Nothing wrong with video games. I'm just saying that's all we're getting from it. And there's no return on investment unless you're like Ninja or something and you lightning strikes. But anyway, that's my feeling. I hope you got a lot out of this. I don't know. I hope you enjoyed this. Do me a favor and like this video if you did. Comment below. I'm sure I'm going to ruffle feathers with this one too. Who knows? I want to hear your ideas on where Midjourney's going, where the ideas, like where are we going? What are we doing here? What is this whole thing about? Tell me what you think. What is like your pie in the sky like, geez, Rob, we should be growing our AI. Like, what am I, like, I want to hear the ideas that are just so off the wall, because those are the good ones. All right, until next week.